Hi, it's me, Robin Horsfall, wise old paratrooper. It's been a busy week. I didn't go to. We had an online meeting with the Northern Ireland Affairs Committee, and we were there, me, Paul Young, Harry Ragg, to talk about the latest proposals from the Stormont House Agreement. These were new proposals looking for new legacy investigation teams, and they wanted the opinions of the Northern Ireland veterans. I was there representing Northern Ireland Marches. Paul Young was there representing Northern Ireland Justice for Northern Ireland Veterans, and Harry Ragg there was representing Rolling Thunder. But essentially we were representing all the veterans groups because there were only 3 witnesses allowed in the meeting. This is the first time that the veterans have been invited to a parliamentary committee, and credit where it's due, the committee were surprised to discover that after all our hard work, our marches, our stamping, our letter writing and our campaigning, that this was the first time that we'd actually been consulted. Now the meetings are an hour long, and if you want to watch the whole thing you can on Parliament TV. There's a link available on Robin E. Horsfall on Facebook. If you want to get the information, if you want to watch the whole thing, then it's there for you to see. It was public, but being part of the parliamentary process, there were some things that were sub judice, like the Dennis Hutchins case, the Soldier F case, and so on. So what I thought I'd do for those people that don't want to spend an hour watching a boring old committee meeting, I thought I would highlight what I wanted to say on the day, and I did manage to cover most of these points in a short video. So here we go. This is what I wanted to say, and I did, as I say, manage to say most of it. My purpose today is to convey the feelings of the 300,000 Northern Ireland veterans regarding the introduction of the new Stormont House proposals. However, there are 4 million former servicemen and women in the United Kingdom who have an interest in the treatment of our Northern Ireland veterans. I will limit myself to the perspectives and feelings of the veterans that I have been chosen to represent. The legacy investigation teams were formed to obtain truth and achieve reconciliation in Northern Ireland. It is the belief of our members that the action of the historical investigation units or teams towards former soldiers have achieved nothing to advance the search for truth and reconciliation. The renewed investigations, arrests and trials of soldiers who were previously investigated and exonerated have achieved nothing. The behaviour of investigators towards veterans has created the strong belief among us that legacy investigators are politically motivated with wide-ranging unchecked powers. This new proposal suggests a semi-autonomous investigation team with powers of arrest who are only answerable to a politically appointed director. 5 years ago, an ageing former soldier with kidney failure who was voluntarily available for interview was arrested by 4 investigators at his home and taken to Northern Ireland for interrogation. In his absence, his home was searched for what the investigators described as a search for evidence from 45 years previously. He was repeatedly interrogated in a manner that was legally questionable, then returned home. This was intimidation for the purpose of coercing some form of confession from him. For the past 5 years, many former soldiers have been hounded by legacy investigation teams. There has not been one conviction of a soldier who was previously investigated and cleared. Not one. We believe that investigators behave this way because their measure of success is determined by the number of convictions they achieve, not a search for truth and reconciliation. We also believe they do this because of the motivations of their partisan political masters. This also does nothing for reconciliation. If the people of Northern Ireland genuinely want the truth from veterans, they must remove the threat of arrest. Republicans want the conviction of a soldier to enhance their false narrative. Unionists want soldiers to appear in court so they can be found not guilty, and because they reject, as do we, the demands for amnesty, because the word amnesty implies some form of guilt. Veterans believe the government are prepared to sacrifice a few old soldiers and a lot of taxpayers' money to keep the lid on threats by the IRA to return to the bomb and the bullet. The search for gold perpetuates the desire to endlessly dig the ground over. Law companies continue to farm Northern Ireland history for huge profits. Soldiers and their families were also survivors and victims of this campaign. No soldier ever went on the streets of Northern Ireland with the intention of committing murder. Their training and management prevented them from doing so. It is a testament to that training that over 30 years, only 4 soldiers were convicted of murder and imprisoned for stepping outside the parameters of their orders and training. The IRA never released any prisoners. Where soldiers were captured by the IRA, without exception, they were brutally tortured and killed. Wives and children of British soldiers were also murdered. The list of such horrors is long. Capture by the IRA or INLA meant certain death. This is the soldier's truth. The legacy teams investigate former soldiers because there's no paper trail to the actions of criminals and murderers. The forces of law and order recorded every patrol, every action, every complaint, and every shot fired. Legacy investigations cannot create a fair and equitable balance between security forces and murderers. Such an attempt is an insult to us. To search for an equivalence between murderers who bombed the civil population and a peacekeeping force is disgusting. It is akin to searching for an equivalence between a parent and a paedophile. From our perspective, new investigations will continue to persecute former soldiers and heap new injustices upon old. We would argue that these investigations have a negative effect on the peace process. The government might feel obliged to carry this process forward, but 4 million former servicemen and women in the UK disagree. They know that the continued persecution and prosecution of soldiers who were previously exonerated is morally wrong. It is not enough to hide behind the law and claim that the law must follow its course. The law was bent, folded and screwed up to create the Good Friday Agreement. If the Good Friday Agreement achieved anything, it was the reduction of violence, which allowed new investment, economic growth and a rise in living standards. We all want this to continue. Our members believe that to get to the truth, further cause of reconciliation in Northern Ireland and defend our veterans, these new proposals must be completely rejected. And that pretty much encompasses what I tried or wanted or achieved on the day, as did my colleagues. And I think we did a very good job. When COVID is over, it is important that all of us, all the different groups, all the different group leaders, the Rolling Thunder motorcyclists, the Justice for Northern Ireland veterans, the Justice for Northern Ireland veterans in Scotland and Ireland and Wales and the South West and the North East and everywhere else in the United Kingdom, start to motivate again, start to get out there. Let's get our marches going again when this crisis is over. Let's keep the pressure on, because there will be another election. There will be new by-elections. Boris Johnson formed the Ministry for Veterans Affairs under Johnny Mercer. We haven't heard very much from Johnny Mercer. It doesn't mean he's not doing anything, but we would like to hear more. But it's up to us to keep the pressure on. Let's do that. Let's look forward to the future. Let's continue to cooperate. Let's continue to march. Now we have a voice inside Parliament. Let's keep that pressure on. Time is the essence. Our old soldiers are living out the last years of their life, and it's not good enough to keep dragging the process out over and over again. Thanks, guys. See you soon.